So I'm going to do a reaction video to Tristan Tate being in his feelings because Sean Strickland told the truth about him, that he's a pimp, a con man. He didn't say pedophile, but I will, because he's on Twitter all the time supporting people that have sex with 15-year-old girls. Andrew Tate, he met Vivian when she was 15 years old. He had a sexual relationship with her, has been pimping her out ever since. So the Tates are human traffickers, pimps, and pedophiles. Sean Strickland had a lot to say about Tristan Tate, and of course, in typical Tristan Tate and Andrew Tate fashion, they're never wrong about anything. You know, this is the one common denominator about the Tates, that they're superior to everybody, and they're never wrong, no matter. They always have some comeback for their criminal activity. So let's watch the video. We do it so bougie. Really? So when you send messages to 15-year-olds on Facebook that are in high school and you try to get them to work on webcam, or you import them from other countries, you make them leave their families and you isolate them and you leave them in the house, and they're not allowed to leave the house unless they go with a bottom B. It's just done in such a nice bougie way, right, Tristan? Dude's a piece of garbage. I can't wait till he's in prison. I can't wait till this scumbag goes to jail.
Dollars on the weekend and exit. And then you get addicts who are uncontrollable, who will throw all their money at webcam models until they're destitute. And the addict cannot be saved and cannot be helped by not running your business. You close that down, the addict's going to go to someone else. Now, for this guy, a professional fighter, to sit there and say that I should have some remorse for the addict or some control over what the addict does is embarrassing, because he is yet to turn the mirror on himself. He is an entertainer. He is fighting in the ring. He is providing entertainment for these millions of people around the world watching him. You think people don't bet, my G? You think people don't bet healthy amounts of money?
That's the new term from Waller. Waller, Tristan, my G. He's such a piece of shit, this guy. He's trying to say that does Sean Strickland have a casino? Does Sean Strickland put the betting lines up in the casino? No, but you own a casino, and Tristan owned the casino. And guess what you used to do in that casino? You'd have the machines rigged where you guys won like 92% of the time, and the patron wins 8% of the time. And then when the patron would finally win, you guys would have the employees rob and beat them up. It was called Las Vegas Casino. It was anything but Las Vegas. But this is typical Tate spins. Sean Strickland is a fighter. He has nothing to do with gambling whatsoever. But this is the delusional minds of the Tates, where they're never wrong. Like, this is going to make it so much better when they got to go before the judge to get sentenced. And he's like, do you guys want to say anything? I'm completely innocent. He's going to pull his bougie bullshit ass routine. And that 10 years is going to turn into 20. I can't wait.
On your fights and hope that you win, and when you win, profit from it. Yeah, that's cool, because the betting and the fight purses are linked. The fact that there's so much gambling involved and the fact that people bet is why you get paid in the...
That's a total lie. Dana White, when you look at the pool, what they get paid, I think UFC fighters get 10% of the actual revenue that comes in. And the fighter, it has nothing to do with the gambling. Yeah, people bet on it, of course, obviously. But the casinos aren't paying UFC. So ESPN pays UFC. People coming to the fights generates revenue. People buying pay-per-view. This is just another Tate lie, because that's all they do. Andrew and Tristan are the two biggest pieces of garbage on the planet. And because he wears his $10,000 suit and puffs on his cigar and drives his Bugatti, the dude is a human trafficker, a pimp, and a pedophile. And he's a psychopath piece of garbage that couldn't tell the truth if it slapped him across the face.
In the fucking first place. And let me tell you something.
There goes tough
the
guy.
Big money in the betting and the big money in the gambling doesn't come from the guys who watch your fights and use this gambling service in a healthy way. No. It comes from the addicts, the degenerates, the people who cannot be helped. Every time...
Speaking of degenerates, I'm looking at one right now, a guy that can't stay away from underage girls. But go ahead.
You fight, somebody has lost everything he had.
Look, he's all upset. He's about to
And for me to sit there, having done what I've done and having lived the life I lived, and say this fighter should feel remorse. This fighter is a bad example to men because through his fight purses, he has scammed millions out of degenerate gambling.
Yeah. Is he really trying to say that Sean Strickland is to blame for compulsive gamblers going to the casino to gamble? Really? You don't blame the casino? You don't blame the actual problem? You don't blame the people that put the lines up? But this is typical Tate spin. Literally, if the truth literally smashed into his head, he still would. Nothing, not a word that comes out of these two lowlifes' mouth, Andrew and Tristan, is true. Nothing.
Gamblers who cannot help themselves would be false. You, sir, I have nothing but respect for. Good for you.
Oh, wait, now he has nothing but respect for her? Okay.
You're a fighter, but you don't understand that you have opened the door for degenerates to...
Nobody understands anything about the world except for the Tate brothers. The human traffickers, the pimps, the pedophiles, the scam casino. Nobody understands the world but the Tates.
Lose every penny they have every time you put on those gloves, every time you lace up. And for you to lace up and say, you know what? If you want to be a critic of me, you want to be a critic of my brother? Okay, cool. Good. Then you do this, my friend. You say, I will fight for money at a much reduced fee as long as nobody in the world can gamble on my fights.
Oh, yeah. Sean Strickland it really has that much power over Las Vegas, where Las Vegas is going to listen to Sean Strickland. And I love all the Tate fans that eat this up, that he's such a good guy. The Tates are the biggest pieces of garbage on the planet, and Sean Strickland was 1,000% right. Exactly what he said about them, and exactly why young people like them. Couldn't have been said any better.
That way I've protected everybody. And I'm completely responsible, and I did not, no betting website scammed some gambler out of his cash. Don't, when you're in the entertainment business that bankrupts families and people because of their lack of self-discipline, don't you dare lecture me, little man.
Little man? He would destroy you, you piece of garbage. He would destroy you, literally. Everybody's beneath the Tates, they're just so much. They're just so superior to everybody, and they try to make their young the real world goes after teenage kids. They're human trafficking teenage girls. They're pieces of garbage. And little man, he would destroy you. Tristan. You wouldn't last 10 minutes with Sean Strickland. I love how 2 minutes ago you said, but you respect him. It's funny how, right, you and your brother, you're going to fight this guy, you're going to fight that guy, and you'll kick this person's ass. But somebody that can actually fight, I don't hear you guys calling out Jake Paul. Jake Paul would knock Andrew Tate into the shadow realms, and I hope they do fight. But he has every excuse not to, Oh, by the time my case is over, I'll be 40, and then I'm too old, and this and that. No, first of all, you wouldn't pass the steroid test. You or Tristan, you'd piss so hot the cup would melt, along with your boy Waller, who's giving out nutritional tips. Meanwhile, he's on 3 or 4 different steroids. You wouldn't pass the drug test, the steroid test, Andrew. And Jake Paul would knock him unconscious. And as far as you going at it with Sean Strickland, you would get massacred, little man.
About what I've done in my past. Because the addicts cannot be helped. I'll tell you what I do. You would lose all your fight contracts and all your sponsorships if you said something like, no one bet, no one gamble
He's the
on
most
fights.
interesting man
everyone
alive.
stop it. You got into the octagon. Thanks for watching me. Got into the boxing ring. Thanks for watching me. But don't ever gamble and don't bet. You'd lose every contract you have. I come along. Even when I was running my webcam studio years ago.
You catch that lie? This video is recent. Webcam studio years ago. They made a video, Andrew made a video that when COVID happened, that they really kicked up the webcam business. And the charges that are brought against them, they had webcam up until 2021, 2022. This lowlife scumbucket is trying to distance himself. As usual, the Tates, that's all they do, is lie. They spin things. They bring up things that have nothing to do with their criminal behavior and try to justify themselves. I can't wait till it's time to go to court for these two lowlifes. Make sure you bring this arrogant attitude before the judge. It's going to go over great.
I would do podcasts about the ins and outs of it and advise young men never to partake in these activities.
You do podcasts to never partake in the webcam business? You guys are selling the war room, and inside the war room, you give details how to start the webcam business and how to get women to do anything you want so they can work for you and you can take all the money. Like, he's just a piece of... This guy's the biggest piece of you-know-what on the planet. He's just a piece of garbage. You could sit there with your fake hair plugs and your $10,000 suit and your steroided body and your $5,000 cigar, and you could fool everybody. You could fool everybody except for real predators and real men. You're garbage. You know, it always makes me laugh when they call the Tates predators, right? And it is true to a degree, like, because they pick on the weak. They go after little kids. They go after teenage girls, because real sharks only go after other sharks. And you notice that these two lowlifes, look who they pick on. They pick on the weak. So I wouldn't even give them the compliment as being an apex predator, because that's not what they are.
Do not lecture me. I'm talking to 2 or 3 people. You probably know who you are. You'll probably see this. I don't give a shit.
Years before his rise to prominence, Tachi Ekakobra operated a webcam business. He self-admittedly employed women for his webcam business.
Females earning money online. So
Years
I have
ago,
girls who work for me via...
The big lie years ago, they were running the webcam when COVID started up until when COVID ended, and just as of recent. And it's in the charges, and it's backed up in the war room. They have conversations in the war room intercepted of recently of Andrew, the lowlife pimp, human trafficker, and pedophile, teaching young guys in there how to manipulate women to get them to work on webcam, how to steal all their money, and how to control them. He uses the word control all the time, and Tristan's on wiretap saying how he slaves the girls and makes them work 12 hours a day. These two are the biggest pieces of garbage on the planet.
OnlyFans girl who worked for me via webcam platforms. So basically I have a webcam studio.
Set up accounts for them, coached them to sell sob stories to men online, and thereby secured significant sums of money from men who needed attention. While the G did nothing, the Matrix regularly tries to find out dirt on him to shut down
the Matrix. Okay, listen. He gives a class, the PhD. He calls it the pimp and hose degree. He says he's not a pimp, but he gives a class, PhD, pimp and hose degree. He runs the war room. Inside the war room, the message has been intercepted by the police of him instructing young men all around the world how to become pimps, how to be human traffickers. They're pieces of garbage. And you know what? Court can't come soon enough for these two scumbags, because it's going to be super hard for these two pieces of garbage to adjust to prison life, because they're beyond arrogant and they're never wrong. So make sure when you go before the judge and the judge is like, hey, do you want to say anything? Please take this arrogant attitude into the courtroom when you're sentenced, so you won't be home for 20 years instead of 10 to 12.